contact with distant lands. At the time when northern parts of India were ruled by the Mauryas and Kushanas, the southern India was being ruled by several royal dynasties: Satavahanas, Cheras, Cholas, and Pandyas. These kingdoms prospered and flourished because they developed trade contact with distant lands. Traders from distant lands, especially from the Roman Empire, came to these kingdoms to take pepper, gold, and precious stones. Cholas, Cheras, and Pandyas. The region to the south of river Krishna is known as South India. This region was known as Tamilakam or the Tamil region in ancient times. The Cholas, Pandyas, and Cheras were the three powerful dynasties ruling in this region. These dynasties had two centers of power, one inland and the other on the coast. These centers helped them to trade inland and with other countries through sea routes. Our main source of information about these kingdoms is the Sangam literature. This period is therefore known as the Sangam age. The Pandyas had their capital at Madurai in Tamil Nadu. The Pandya kings profited from trade with the Roman Empire and even sent embassies to the Roman Emperor Augustus. Nedun Sizian was a powerful Pandya ruler. The Chola kingdom, which was called Chola Mandalam, had its capital at Kaveri Pattinam, along the bank of the Kaveri river. It was a great center of trade and commerce and had a large dock. Karikal is regarded as the most powerful ruler of the Cholas. One of the main sources of the wealth of the Cholas was trade in cotton cloth. The Cholas also had an efficient and large naval fleet. The Chera or the Kerala country covered portions of both Kerala and Tamil Nadu. The Cheras also traded with the Romans. Nedu Cheraladin was a famous king of this dynasty. All these three kingdoms were busy fighting with each other and also with Sri Lanka. But otherwise, these states were rich in terms of their natural resources and foreign trade. These kingdoms grew spices, especially pepper, which was in great demand in the Western world. Their elephants served as a good source of ivory, which was highly valued in the West. Their sea gave pearls and their mines produced precious stones. Both these were sent to the West. They also produced muslin and silk of fine quality. Trade was carried on with West Asia, Southeast Asia, China, and Rome. Satavahanas. In the Deccan and central India, the Mauryas were succeeded by the Satavahanas after a gap of about 100 years. Pratisthana in present-day Maharashtra was their capital. The Satavahanas are also called the Andhras. The Satavahanas extended their power over Karnataka and Andhra. Their greatest competitors were the Shakas, who had also established their power in the Deccan and the Western India. Gautami Putra Shatkarni, 106 to 130 AD, was the greatest ruler of the Satavahanas. He defeated the Shakas and extended his empire up to Karnataka. We get much of the information about him from an inscription composed by his mother, Gautami Balashri. The most interesting details about the Satavahanas relate to their family structure. In Aryan society in North India, the father was the head of the family. But among the Satavahanas, kings were named after their mothers. Names such as Gautami Putra show the importance of the mother in the society. It seems that women were given more importance in the Satvahana society. Sculptures belonging to the period indicate that women took part in assemblies, in religious ceremonies, and in entertaining guests along with men. The Satvahanas gave tax-free villages as land grants to the Brahmanas and Buddhist monks. In return, these monks and priests spread the message of peace and codes of good conduct among the people. The Satvahana rulers were known as lords of the Dakshinapath. The Satvahana rulers encouraged trade. They traded with the Roman Empire. They issued coins of gold, silver, and copper. Some of their coins depict ships sailing in the ocean, indicating foreign travel. The Satvahanas were religiously tolerant. They worshipped Hindu gods and performed Vedic sacrifices. They also promoted Buddhism by giving gifts to the Buddhist monks. The Satvahanas built many rock-cut temples and monasteries. They constructed Buddhist stupas at Nagarjunakonda and Amravati in Andhra region. Thus, they were great patrons of art and architecture too. After the decline of the Mauryan Empire, another large empire did not arise in India for some time. But significantly, widespread contact started between Central Asia and India. From around 200 BC, many foreign groups from Central Asia entered India. They were the Indo-Greeks, Shakas, Parthians, and Kushanas. Of them, the Kushanas became the most important in the beginning of the 1st century AD and established their authority over the northwest frontier of India. The Indo-Greek, the first to cross the Hindu Kush and come into India, were the Greeks who ruled Bactria, a place in northern Afghanistan. They invaded and occupied a large part of northwestern India, including parts of Punjab and Kabul Valley. The most famous Indo-Greek ruler was Menander, also known by the name Milinda. He had his capital at Sakala, present-day Sialkot in Pakistan. The Indo-Greek rule is important in the history of India because of the large number of gold coins which the Greeks issued. The Indo-Greeks introduced Greek style of art in India. The Shakas. The Greeks were followed by the Shakas or Scythians. There were 5 branches of Shakas and they settled in different parts of India like Punjab, Mathura, Western India and Deccan. Although Shakas established their rule in different parts of the country, only those who ruled in Western India held power for the maximum time, for about 4 centuries. They made a lot of profit from the sea trade of Gujarat and issued a large number of silver coins. The most famous Shaka ruler in India was Rudradaman I, AD 130 to 150. Although a foreigner who settled in India, he was a great lover and patron of Sanskrit. He repaired the old Sudarshan Lake in semi-arid zone of Kathiawar in Gujarat. This lake had been built by Chandragupta Maurya and played a major role in irrigating the dry regions. Parthians. The Shaka domination of northwestern India was followed by that of the Parthian. Originally, the Parthians lived in Iran, from where they moved to India. Gradually, the Parthians, like the other foreigners, became an integral part of the Indian society. The Kushanas. The Kushanas were nomadic people who lived in the mountains of north-central Asia in the neighborhood of China. The Kushanas ruled over Central Asia and the northwest India. Their 2 major centers of power were Purushapura or Peshawar and Mathura. Taxila was also a part of their empire. Later, they occupied the whole of Kashmir and Punjab and parts of the present-day Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. The Kushanas controlled a part of the Silk Route. Cadphises I, Cadphises II, and Kanishka were important rulers of the Kushana dynasty. Kanishka was the most famous Kushana ruler. He was the first Indian ruler with territories outside India. His capital was at Purushapura, present-day Peshawar. He is known mainly because of 2 reasons. First, he started an era in 78 AD, which is now known as the Shaka era and is used by the government of India. Secondly, he extended his wholehearted patronage to Buddhism. During his reign, the 4th Buddhist Council was held at Kashmir, where Buddhism was formally divided into 2 sects, Mahayana and Hinayana. Mahayana became prominent during the reign of Kanishka. Kanishka was also a great patron of art and Sanskrit literature. His memoir is cherished with admiration as a great ruler, only next to Ashoka. Impact of Central Asian contacts. Better use of horses in the warfare. The Shakas and the Kushanas were excellent horsemen. They had introduced the use of reins and saddles. They had also introduced turbans, trousers, and heavy long coats necessary for horse riding. They also brought in caps, helmet, and boots, which were used by the warriors. Thus, they introduced a more effective form of military uniform in India. New political systems. The
Shaka
introduced a stable satrapi system of government. The empire was divided into many satrapies. Each satrapi was placed under the rule of a satrap. Satraps were military governors, each with their independent army. Trade and commerce. India started getting a good deal of gold from the Alai Mountains in Central Asia. The Kushanas also controlled a part of the Silk Route, which started from China and passed through Central Asia, Afghanistan, and Western Asia. This route became a great source of income for the Kushanas. They took toll tax from the traders and in return offered them protection from robbers. As a result, Roman gold started coming to India. The Kushanas got a lot of custom duty from the traders. The Silk Route was a series of ancient routes from China to the Mediterranean Sea and the Roman Empire. Apart from silk, many other commodities were traded: precious stones, gold, ivory, exotic animals, and plants through the Silk Route. But of all these goods, silk was the most remarkable item for the people of Europe. The Kushanas were the first rulers of India to issue gold coins in a large scale. Thus, the Kushanas contributed a great deal to the riches of India.